Hello, welcome to the European Atlas of the Seas workshop. In this workshop, you will learn how to use the European Atlas of the Seas in your classroom, and you will discover the new My Location tool that allows you to create your own maps. First, ask yourself, what would you like to know about the ocean? Would you like to learn more about marine biodiversity, about ocean energy, about the depth of the ocean? What would you like to know about? Many people are working to study the ocean and get more information about the ocean. In this picture, we see ship-based research. These researchers are deploying equipment at sea to get some water samples, but also have equipment that measures different things, like water temperature or how salty the water is. Other oceanographic instruments are deployed from ships to be able to monitor the ocean and receive data in near real time. Satellites also provide important information about the ocean. It's not only about collecting data to learn more about ocean. Sharing this data is extremely important. This is part of ocean research. Collaboration is key to scientific research, and this data is also very important to all professionals working at sea. So data sharing is as important as collecting data. One example of such a data sharing system is the European Marine Observation and Data Network, embedding. The idea is to collect data once and use it multiple times. So that means that the data collected by these researchers will be available to other researchers across the world, but also to other professionals and experts. But in fact, we are all interested in this data. And you, as teachers and your students, also citizens across Europe, are interested in having information about the ocean. So how can we access this information? This is where the European Atlas of the Seas comes in. The European Atlas of the Seas is an initiative of the European Commission that is powered by embedding. It's an interactive learning tool that includes over 270 interactive map layers, covering a wide range of topics, going from nature, sea life and sea bottom to a range of sectors in the blue economy, such as tourism, transport, fishing, aquaculture. It also includes information on employment in the blue economy and information on security at sea. Very important to note also that in each map layer you can see who the data provider is. That means who provided the data to develop this map. The maps are easily accessible and you can combine different map layers to create your own map. The European Atlas of the Seas is available in 24 languages, and you can export, print and embed maps into different tools such as a website or a blog. So how does it work? It's very easy. You just type the URL of the atlas into any browser, www.europeanatlasoftheseas.eu. The first thing that you want to do is to open the menu. You do this by clicking on the icon with the three lines. You will then see the menu window that will be opened. There you see English. If you click on English, you have access to a drop-down menu where you can select the language that you want to see the atlas in. You also note that you have an icon for Give Feedback. If you click on Give Feedback, you will access an online form that you can complete with your questions or your comments about the atlas. We are then receiving an email that we can reply to. So we are always happy to get your questions or your comments. Once you have selected your language, you can close the menu window and you can open the search window. You do this by clicking on the magnifying glass. You then see the list of map layers. This is where you can access the 270 map layers. To select a map layer, it's very easy. You can just tick a box. In this example, we have selected 2 map layers that are related to algae production. We have a map layer on microalgae production facilities and a layer on microalgae production facilities. You also see that you have different symbols next to these titles. The information icon will give you a description of the map as well as information on the data provider. The graduation hat indicates that there is a map in the teacher's corner where you can access different types of exercise that you can use in the classroom, and we'll come back to that. The little book shows that we have a map story linked to this map layer. A map story is a little text that goes along with a map. Once you have selected several map layers or just one, you can close this window and your map will appear. So here we see our new map with the 2 map layers we have selected. If we click on the information icon, we can read a text explaining what this map layer is about, and we can see that the data provider is embedding. embedding provides about half of the data for the map layers in the European Atlas of the Seas. Other data providers are the European Commission, Eurostat, the European Environmental Agency, but also the Copernicus Marine Service, and some projects and programs. Once we have checked that we have the 2 map layers that we want to have, we can look at the legend. Because a map is not a map if it doesn't include a legend. The legend will help us understand the map by showing what the different symbols refer to. So for example, the symbols in light blue here correspond to macroalgae that are harvested, while the dark blue icons show macroalgae that are produced through aquaculture. If you click on these symbols, you can get more information. You can also decide to zoom in. So for example, if you want to see things at a local level, for example in Denmark or in Portugal, you can click on the plus sign. You can then zoom out by clicking on the minus sign. If you want to come back to the European scale of the map, you click on the icon in the middle. So this is how you can search for different map layers in the Atlas. Very easy. Let's see what type of maps we have. The first example is a map on global sea surface temperature regional trends. This map shows how water temperature has evolved between 1993 and 2018. Another example is global ocean chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is an indicator for phytoplankton. These are small algae that are at the base of the food web. So this is a very important map layer. Phytoplankton maps can also show pollution in case where we have phytoplankton blooms due to pollution. Another example is Marine Natura 2000 sites. Marine Natura 2000 sites have been designated to protect bird species, but also marine habitats and other marine species. You can also learn about maritime transport, for example, through this map layer showing vessel density in 2021. We have maps showing shellfish farms and seawater finfish farms. And we also have map layers that are related to programs, such as the Mission Ocean and Waters program. In this map, you can see the different actions that are related to the mission charter. If you click on the lighthouse, you can learn more about these actions. And as you are interested in education, you are mostly interested to see what the lighthouse in red are. If you click on them, you can discover the missions that are related to education and training. We also have many maps that are related to marine litter. We have maps that are related to beach litter, as this example of plastic bags. We also have map layers related to marine litter on the seabed. And this map is quite special because all of the maps you've seen until now are maps that have been created based on data that the European Atlas of the Seas team has received from professional data providers. But in 2022, we have worked with the Education for Climate Coalition, which you may also be involved in, and we discussed the fact that it would be very interesting for schools to become themselves data providers. And this is how the first citizen science map was born in the Atlas. First, we had a number of workshops. Teachers decided what kind of map they wanted to create, and it was decided to create a map on water surface temperature. Schools sent us their data, and we were able to create this map. The graduation hats in blue in this map relate to data that were provided by schools that measured the temperature either in the sea or in a river or a lake nearby the school. The mini boats represent data that we have received from the mini boats program from Educational Passage. This program, mini boats, allows for schools to build their mini boats that are about 1 meter, that are deployed at sea. Students follow these boats and analyze where they are traveling to based on ocean currents. But very interestingly, these boats also are equipped with some sensors that allow to measure temperature. So we were also able to receive some data from them. And if you click on any of the graduation hats or any of the mini boats, you see the data that we have received. And the data does not only include the temperature, it also includes information on where the measurements were made, when they were made, how the temperature was measured, and in some cases it also includes pictures of the location where the measurement was made or a picture of the boat. So these are a few examples, but of course you want to discover by yourself what the different map layers are. Also very important to note is that there is an interactive help tool in the Atlas. If you go to the menu and you click on "Do you need help?", you will be able to find information and step-by-step procedure to do a number of things in the Atlas. For example, how to change the language or how to measure the distance between two locations. As mentioned before, you can export map layers. To do this, you can click on the print icon. You can then export the map in either PDF or JPEG format at different size. You can include a title and you can even draw on the map. You can also use the Share and Embed tool to either share the map layer on social media or embed the map in a website or a blog. In this case, people who are looking at your website or your blog will be able to directly interact with the map. So all of this is accessible without any password. But it came to the attention of the Atlas team that it might be interesting for you as teachers to create your own space in the Atlas. And this is what we have developed as the My Maps tool. With the My Maps tool, you can create your own working space in the Atlas and save your maps. Let's take the example of oceanographic instruments. You've heard before that oceanographic instruments are deployed at sea, and these instruments that are drifting along the ocean are providing different types of measurements, for example, water temperature. There are different types of oceanographic instruments, and you want to talk about these different types of oceanographic instruments in the classroom. First, you want to go through the 270 map layers and select the different map layers that are relevant to this topic. And here we have taken 3 examples: the ferry box, the underwater glider, and the auger floats. If you click on the information icon for each of these map layers, you will learn more about what these instruments are and what they are measuring. Now, you have seen this, you want to show this to your students. But when you're in the classroom, you don't want to remake the map. You want to save the map that you have prepared. You can do this with My Maps. How do you do this? First, you have to activate the My Maps tool. To do this, you go to the menu and you activate the Save Maps by bringing the round white dot to your right. You will then be able to save your maps and you will be able to find that under My Maps as shown in circle 2 here. Once you have activated My Maps, you will see that a floppy disk appears on the right side of the screen. This will allow you to save your map. When you click on this icon, you will be able to give a title to your map and a description. But you could also include questions for your students. So for example, you can say, can you identify each type of instruments on the map using the legend? How do these instruments work? Which parameters are measured? And you can save this question so that when you open the map again in the classroom, you directly have access to them. And if you have finished preparing your map and you have closed it, you can turn off your computer, and tomorrow or in a week, you can come back to the atlas, open My Maps, and you will find your saved map that is waiting for you. So very interesting tool to prepare some lessons or some activities with the students. But the maps that we have been presenting up to now are maps that are showing locations that are provided by the data providers. Would it be wonderful if you could create your own maps showing your own locations where you have made measurements or that highlighting things that you want to highlight? This is not possible with My Location tools, and this is the brand new tool that has just been developed by the Atlas team. So again, the first thing that you want to do if you want to use My Location is to activate the My Location tool. You go to the menu and you click on Advanced Feature. There again, you are able to activate My Location by bringing the white dot to the right. Don't forget to also activate Save Map, because you will need to save map to be able to save the map you have created with My Location. Once you have activated these two tools, you will see the floppy disk and the pin on the right side of the screen. As this is your working space, you will need to create an account to use My Location, the same way that you have had to create an account to use My Maps. If you do not yet have an EU account for another project, for example, you can create an EU login by clicking on EU login and following the instructions. Once you have logged in, your email address will appear on the top of the screen and you will be able to work directly in My Locations. There are two ways that you can create a map with My Location. The first one is to import your data in the atlas. Let's say, for example, that you have been on field trip and you have collected some data. You have an Excel file with different information. This Excel file must have at least 3 columns: latitude, longitude, description. If you have this, you can copy-paste your data from your Excel file directly into the atlas. This is what we see here, but make sure that you have latitude and longitude, otherwise you will not be able to locate your locations in the map. The second way to create your map with My Location is to create this table directly in the atlas. To do this, you need to click on the pin that is under Add Column. Then click on your location in the map, and you will see that the latitude and the longitude are automatically completed with the geographical coordinates of the location that you have selected. Once you have done that, you can type in the description of that location. But you may want to add other information. You can then click on Add Column and rename. For example, here we are adding a column that is country. But we could also add a column with temperature or any other information that we would like to add. Once you have included all of the information for your first location, you can add a second location. To do that, you click on Add Row. And here we have added a second location in Portugal. When you have finished adding all of your location, you click on Next. You can, and you must, provide a title. You see that this information is mandatory with the red star next to title. So if you do not put in the title, you will not be able to save your map. So here we have provided a title, monitoring stations for water temperature. You can then add description. You then need to add the attributes to show. This is the information that you will be able to see when you will click on your location. So here we have chosen ID, description, and country. You can select the symbol, so you could change these dots to a square or to a triangle. You can change the size of those symbols and you can change the color as well. Once you have done that, you can click on Create your layer. And you're done creating the map, but you still have to save it. For this, you have to click on the floppy disk. If you don't see it, remember to go back to the menu and activate the Save Map in the menu. And when you click on Save, again, you can put in the map title and the description and click on Save. And there it is. Your new map is now saved in My Maps. That means that you can go back to it, to edit it, or to reopen it at a later stage. So when we open our saved map, we can see that indeed when we click on a location, we see the three things that we have added to our map: the ID, the description, and the country. If we want to update this map, because for example we have a new location that we want to add and we want to add a row, we just click on the pin again and it will open the table. We can then update the table. Don't forget to save again your map if you have updated it. You can also combine your map layer with other existing map layers. Let's say we want to also see if we can combine the map layer we have just created with a map layer on river basins. To find that map layer, we type river and we are able to tick the box river basins. Once we have done that, we see that we have the map that combines the two map layers. The map layer monitoring station for water temperature that we have created together, and the map layer river basin that already existed. And again, we can save this new map by clicking on the floppy disk. This means the next time you open the map, you will see the combined map of the two map layers. So this is it. Now it's your turn to create your map layer. There are many things that you could do. You could map field trips, you could map other schools that you are working with, or many other things. And we would be very interested in learning what kind of map layers you want to create and how you are using them in your classroom. Before we end this presentation, we also wanted to share a few resources with you. First, we mentioned to you that we have a Teacher's Corner. The Teacher's Corner is available in the Atlas from the menu. If you click on the menu, you will see Teacher's Corner. And you click on Teacher's Corner, you will see that there are many resources that are available to you that are directly usable in the classroom. We have different types of exercises for different age categories. These exercises are using a map layer and some questions. The students can find the answers to the question in the map layers. We also have some quiz and some games, including a geocaching game, a treasure hunt, and a virtual race. We also have a few posters, and you can find all presentations, including this presentation, in the section Past Workshops. Every Friday, the European Atlas of the Seas team publishes the map of the week. We select a specific map that we connect to recent activities and recent events or recent policy on the ocean. We also wanted to tell you about the EU Ocean Coalition for Ocean Literacy. Many of you may already be very familiar with EU for Ocean if you joined the network of European Blue Schools. The EU for Ocean Coalition is composed of 3 communities: the network of European Blue Schools, that are blue schools that have developed a project on the ocean with a local partner. The second community is the Youth for Ocean Forum, that brings together young people aged 16 to 30 years old, and many of them have developed projects and have then received certification as young ocean advocates. And the third community is the EU for Ocean platform, that brings together research institutes, NGOs, private organizations, but also artists and anyone interested in the ocean. Together, they form the EU for Ocean Coalition that now brings together over 1,000 people across Europe and beyond. On this slide, you can scan the QR codes to learn more about these 3 communities and how you can join them. Also very interesting to you is a project that is developed by a young ocean advocate. It's called Letters to the Sea. And the idea is to invite young people aged from 5 to 22 years old to write to the sea as if it was a person. The objective is to collect 1 million letters to be able to showcase this letter at the UN Ocean Conference in Nice in 2025. And you can write these letters, the students and the pupils can write these letters in any language. You see here the website where you can find more information about this project. So a lot of resources that you can find here and that you can access in the Teacher's Corner edition of this presentation. So we hope you have enjoyed this workshop, and we hope that the MyMaps tool and the Atlas in general will be very useful in your daily work with your students. Do stay in contact with us. Tell us what you need. Tell us how you are using the Atlas, and enjoy the journey.